This is Adam Gorney, the National Recruiting Director at Rivals, here with Zack Carpenter from the Scarlet and Gray Report, now with a 2024 commitment for Ohio State and Dylan Raiola. And this one is definitely big. And, you know, in the recruiting world, everybody talks about how big everything is, but this one is certainly important. Someone who is going to be competing for the number one quarterback spot in the country and just a talented guy all around, right, Zack?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch his game film, it's like 16, 17 minutes of highlights. And I mean, he's, as a quarterback prospect, he can make, as they say, all the throws. I mean, up the seam, down the sidelines. And I mean, he's like that prototypical 6'3", 225, 230-pound quarterback, like that prototypical quarterback that Ryan Day loves to have in his system. Because when you look at Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, CJ Stroud, Kyle McCord, and Devin Brown, they're all like 6'3", 220 to 230. And that just an amazing quarterback mind. I mean, his coach joked that that Dylan has a photographic memory, that he can just instantly pick up, see things once and instantly pick it up. And talking to Dylan about his commitment, he was like, "Yeah, people think I have a photographic memory." So all those traits as far as how he is as a quarterback prospect, but the fact that he's their first commitment in the class, I think, just starts it off with a huge bang for Ohio State, and couldn't really ask for a better start to the class for them.
Yeah, he visited all over the country. I mean, his uncle is the, an assistant coach at Nebraska that had a tie, and there were all kinds of things. Texas, all the Texas schools probably were involved. He had played his sophomore year in Burleson, Texas, now at Chandler, Arizona. And when they talk quarterbacks, you want to talk comparisons, and the comparison is Patrick Mahomes, but I hate making comparisons like that, because you're saying, okay, now what we're saying is he's maybe one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So let's not go there, because I don't like doing that, because I've heard Peyton Manning and Tom Brady comparisons before, and it's just outrageous. But he is a guy who doesn't have to just drop back and then technically throw the football perfectly to his receivers. He's a guy that can throw off his back foot, throws against the grain, which means he's, throwing left while running left, throwing it back across his body. He doesn't take like really insane risks like some quarterbacks have and have tried to get away with it before. But he is a guy that kind of relies on his arm strength and kind of his intangibles and his confidence to make the throws, right?
Yeah, and that's what's interesting. You mentioned like the different arm angles and stuff like that. I mean, that's what college football and NFL, the elite quarterbacks, are trending toward now, right? I mean, they're not these stand in the pocket all day and like just statuesque, I guess. They're mobile, and they can kind of bend it a little bit. And he's shown that. And just the way he's able to read defenses and know protections and route trees and the read progressions. I mean, you hate to overhype a 16, 17-year-old kid when he's still at this level, but talking to one quarterback expert who's a lot smarter than dumb media guy over here, he said, if I was to say what a first round NFL prospect looks like at the high school level, he said I would be looking at Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Ohio State brings in Raiola and Jaden Davis. They make Raiola pretty much their number one target. I don't think that's a criticism of Jaden Davis necessarily, but it is certainly a compliment to Raiola. Jaden Davis, a 5-star right now, definitely has a lot of options nationally. Julian Sayin is probably the most technically sound quarterback in this class, just like a businessman on the football field who picks people apart. Not an incredible athlete. Can get it done, but certainly not an incredible athlete. So it's really just kind of what you're looking for. And I think CJ Card, who is Lloyd Card's grandson, is also a very competent and talented quarterback who will be mentioned. But Raiola is going to be in the debate for the number one quarterback in this class. And now stats are one thing to consider. He, threw for more than 3,000 yards and 32 touchdowns as a sophomore, plays with a tremendous amount of confidence and ability. We will see how he does in Arizona, which is, very, good high school competition. Certainly not the best in the country, but very good. He's going to face other Division I players this upcoming year. it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out rankings wise. We still have 2 years to get it right or wrong, as some people would like to say. But he's absolutely going to be in the running, which is just a credit to Ryan Day and Corey Dennis for the job that they've done recruiting quarterbacks since they've been there, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Corey Dennis because we do always, or at least I always do. I always mention Ryan Day over and over, and I mean for good reason. I mean he's grown his reputation as arguably the best quarterback developer over the last few years. But Corey did a bang up job in this recruitment as well, building a relationship with Dylan. And yet, when you're talking about rankings, it feels like, again, you hate to make comparisons, but it feels like this could be similar to what the 2018 class, when Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields were competing neck and neck all the way for that number one spot, and they wound up being right there at the top. It could shape out that way for Dylan Raiola and Jaden Davis, because, like you said, Jaden is 5-star in his own right, and was right up there with Dylan as Ohio State's top target. But when you look at Dylan, I mean, he has the NFL knowledge background. His dad was with the Detroit Lions for 14 seasons, and his first coach was John Kitna. He was the first one who developed him as a quarterback. He trains with Drew Stanton. He has Matthew Stafford on line one pretty much to gain advice from. He's not going to have any shortage of guys who can sort of help guide him along, whether it's something mechanically at quarterback or just seeing the game, how to carry himself. So he's set up for a pretty bright future.
All right, that is it. Dylan Raiola to Ohio State. Big get for the 2024 class for the Buckeyes. Again, he is Zack Carpenter from ScarletandGrayReport.com. I am Adam Gorney for Rivals.com.